and Jet Set Radio live service games? Sonic Origin locks behind DLC. Nintendo workplace issues. And Xbox and PlayStation ad space. Extra, hear all about it.
Hey guys, I'm the Dean of Games, also the Dean Slater if you're on Twitter or Twitch. And I've got some housekeeping for you. First of all, I got some analytics. We finally reached the point where we can get some solid analytics on our viewership. And a third of our viewership is from the good old USA of America. Which completely understandable, you know. Second place is a little bit of a surprise. Gonna be honest. In second place is India. I don't understand. First of all, the service they're using, I tried uploading to that service so many times, and I guess it just finally accepted it, and I didn't get a notification from it. So that's cool. The podcast app that's very popular over there. Guess I finally got on
that one.
Yeah. I was kind of partially lying when I said podcast services everywhere, because I tried that one multiple times and could not get it to accept our podcast. But then it did, so now I'm not lying. So there.
They found a way.
Life finds a way. And then tied for third place is Brazil, which again, a little bit of a surprise. And then United Kingdom. It's like with my Briefing Room YouTube channel is that I haven't uploaded in a long time too. Most of my audience was from South America, and it's like I speak, you know, not that no one over there speaks English, but I definitely do. And it's just surprising to me that that a not native speaking English country watches, or in this case listens. So that's really cool, but just a little surprising. So shout out to our Indian and Brazilian listeners.
Thank you very much for listening.
Although also that could be VPN too, you never know.
You know, you make a good point. And in that case, well,
yeah, let's
scrap this whole first few minutes. Whoever you are, wherever you are, thank you so much for tuning in.
The other thing that's surprising about our numbers is where people are listening through. A lot of people are listening through Alexa-enabled devices or Google Chrome, and not like phones or anything. That's a little surprising.
I mean, some people have stuff playing through their speakers while they're doing stuff around the house, so a little bit of background noise while they're doing whatever.
I've done that before, but I've still usually just used my phone, just put in some earbuds or something.
Right.
But I guess I'm not everyone, so. Later this week, I will be getting all of our Patreon content uploaded. I know it's taken a long time, but I'm just one man. So I will have that uploaded later this week. I just have two more. Well, after this episode, I guess 3 more Patreon content related things to edit. And then it's a matter of getting a was it Vimeo subscription or whatever. So that way I can connect a private video to Patreon. So that'll be when I get my paycheck. So it will be later this week. And yeah, as much as I have talked about, the numbers and everything, there are no reviews on Apple, and as far as I'm aware, no reviews on Spotify, although I don't have those numbers readily available. So, I always mention review like that. That definitely helps for sure. So that is everything for the housekeeping. You've heard my co-host for today, and that is the somber puppet from YouTube, James.
How's it going, everyone?
Yeah, so I think this is the first time you have been my co-host without Landen.
Yes, we'll see how it goes.
So that's pretty exciting, though. I mean, it's your first
It's gonna
time.
be weird without his tangents.
Oh yeah, no, his tangents definitely help pad out the episodes a little bit.
Oh yeah,
which I appreciate. I'm not dissing him on that. I do appreciate
I don't know. I love them. Just like the passion behind them. It's great.
Oh yeah, he's definitely passionate about video games, no doubt. And we try to aim for 40 minutes, and there's been a couple times I'm like, oh shit, we're at like 20 minutes, and then he's like, I got some things to say about it, and it's like, thank you. Anyway, this is Extra Extra, your weekly gaming news podcast covering the news leading up to Sunday, April 24th, 2022. If you like us, you can go to patreon.com/thebriefing-room, where I'll be uploading those videos later this week. So let's get to some news. Here's a fun little one that I decided to put in here. This week we're going to do something a little different because I had some issues myself. Once I find my cursor, there we go. Sega is developing a big budget Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio reboot. And this comes from Polygon, and it's Michael McWhorter that wrote it. And it says, Sega is reportedly developing big budget reboots of Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio franchises as the company seeks to create a global hit. This is part of Sega's Super Game Initiative, which is to develop new and innovative titles with a focus on global reach, online interactivity, community building, IP utilization, so forth and so on. So basically, they're trying to create. They are looking to create games that can be live service games, and they think that Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi are just the franchises for that initiative of live.
I'm not too sure what to think about that. Like, well, I love Jet Set Radio Future. I played that game into the dirt when I was little.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you'd go about making those games a live service. It's like it's got such a specific. It's like do tricks on rollerblades and just spray paint everything. Like, unless they're gonna make certain tags that you can put up, like DLC content to a degree.
Yeah.
But that's, I don't know. That's an odd decision. I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of um like because like Crazy Taxi, first of all, taxis they still exist, but they are not what they used to be. So are they gonna do like first of all, are they gonna do like crazy, Uber or whatever
Mhm.
instead? Um Not that they could really use the name Uber because of you know, copyright and all that trademarks. Um but also that game is just literally, hey, take this person here and get them there as fast as possible for the high score.
Right. Like, what
I
do you
don't
have to
know.
work with there?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you do with that.
I mean, it did have I think it was Crazy Taxi 3. I don't know about the other one since it's the only one I've played. But it had a like mini game kind of mode or
Yeah,
challenges. It's like go across this football field, reach the other side while you've got all these other cars trying to smoke you, or you've got twisters going through that you have to avoid, or you have to do certain obstacle courses, go through certain areas in limited amounts of time, do certain tricks, combos, whatnot. But I mean, I guess in that regard, they'd have something for like packs that you could put out. But
yeah.
beyond
I
customization for like your taxi and character, I'm
I
not
I
sure.
have an idea. All
Let's hear
right.
it.
So the this is in regards to Battle Pass. I still don't know how you make it work for like the online, multiplayer part of it.
Mhm.
But for the Battle Pass, you start with a Ford Pinto or something similar to a Ford Pinto, and as you progress, you get more until you get, a Porsche or something, and that's the last thing of the Battle Pass.
Riding around in a caddy. There we go. I could get behind that.
Why anyone would choose to not have the Ford Pinto, the greatest car of all time. And we just lost some viewers.
Nah, you just offended some Ford lovers out there.
um,
You
we,
can't have customization like you did in.
yeah,
I was just thinking, like in Jet Set, you used to be able to make your own graffiti.
yeah,
You shouldn't be able to do that today. Keep that feature out.
yeah, yeah. We've determined the internet is not a safe place. Let's not give them power. Uh, yeah. Some other potential games from dormant franchises that Sega has include Space Channel 5, which I'm not sure if they'll ever do anything with Space Channel 5 because of the lawsuits and everything involving that game. Rez, Panzer Dragoon, Knights, Shinobi, Virtual Fighter, and Altered Beast.
Oh, Panzer Dragon. I've wanted to play that game so bad. Do you
Yeah,
remember on you had a classic Xbox, right?
yeah, yeah,
Do you remember the Xbox Live thing that they had that you could go to where it was just like trailers for games or a trailer for Xbox Live with the
yeah,
dude standing on his coffee table playing Robotech and just screaming to his other buddies. I've got
yeah,
Sleeping Giant, fucking Pineapple Warrior. But I used to watch that Panzer Dragon trailer like over and over, like the style of it and the music and everything. Just like,
yeah.
dude, I loved it so much.
Shout out to Robotech, the show that made me create the Briefing Room YouTube channel in the first place.
Really?
Yeah, I would say 98% of the videos on there are Robotech related. Um, but yeah, though, yeah, Knights. I know there's a big vocal fan base about Knight. And I think they tried to do like a reboot of Knights or something, and it didn't go well. But maybe something like that would work. I never played Knights, so I'm not sure how the game works anyway, or how that would translate to uh, a live service format.
Right, yeah, I don't know anything about that one.
I remember correctly, Space Channel 5 was like a rhythm like game.
See, those things are relatively easy for open source as long as the developers are able to get the licensing for the songs.
Well, I
Because I
don't
mean,
remember.
I've seen Beat Saber. It's like
Don't
every
remember
month or
who
so
it
pump out a
is.
$20 DLC.
Yeah. Um, there was a lawsuit where a star complained um uh that the main character looked too much like her. Um let's see. Lady Miss Kier Kirby of the former pop punk group D Light uh was trying to sue because Ooh La La looked quote too much like her.
Do we need to like start implementing Robot Chicken's whole deal of like any names or likeness of actual people are purely coincidental?
Yeah, I guess. Like, who knows anymore, you know?
Uh,
The world. What can you do?
Not very much, unless you run the risk of being canceled.
Yeah. Um. So, second news story. And this is similar to, I believe it was last week. We had a news story, and the main reason for having that news story was connected to another story, an older story. In this case, the first news story we're going to talk about preceded the news story, but it's kind of related. So, uh, Nintendo their moved the release date for um uh what was it? I'm drawing a blank now. The RPG with the fancy sword things. Um, the third one. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on it now. Um,
Xenoblade?
Xenoblade. That's it.
There we go.
They moved Xenoblade 3 from September to July. Instead of moving it back, they moved it forward.
Ooh.
Which had a lot of people like, "Oh, this never happens. This is great!" Like,
It doesn't. It's
yeah,
nope, sorry, not this year. Next year. Like
it
8
doesn't.
months from now.
Yeah, it doesn't happen like that. So everyone's like surprised and like excited. Well, then a day later, the Nintendo America contractors feel like second-class workers. This is on Kotaku by Ethan Gatch and CC Zhang. I hope I said your name right. I apologize if I didn't. A union-busting complaint recently filed with the National Labor Relations Board accused Nintendo of America and contract worker agency Aston Carter of surveillance, retaliation, and other unfair labor practices. According to 4 sources familiar with the incident.
Oh my.
Yep. Uh, this comes from a contractor, like a part-time employee, who had talked about unions in a business meeting and was fired mid-contract. And then that meeting took place in February. And the remark was asking for general comment about unionization in the games industry during an open question and answer period. So Nintendo had this to say about it. We are aware of the claim which was filed with the National Labor Relations Board by a contractor who was previously terminated for the disclosure of confidential information and for no other reason. Nintendo is not aware of any attempts to unionize or related activity and intends to cooperate with the investigation conducted by the NLRB. Nintendo is fully committed to providing a welcoming and supportive work environment for all of our employees and contractors. We take matters of employment very seriously. But yeah, it's some of the other stuff that was being claimed was that they were recording people's work, like they were recording so that way they could point to, you know, moments that they weren't doing what they're supposed to do, et cetera, et cetera. Just there was a lot of shitty things. Not all of which are covered in this, and some of which are just, you know, whatever. Here's the thing that I think is really funny. Is Nintendo, everyone was like, yeah, because Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox all talked about how they're opposed to the toxic workplace of Activision Blizzard, and I don't know that this is a you know that this isn't as bad as the Activision stuff, but you know both Nintendo and Sony have now been hit with these, and Microsoft in the past has been hit with lawsuits regarding this kind of thing. So we'll just see if they get hit with another one, or if the Xbox division actually is good. Which as much as I do like to praise companies for doing right, companies just there's too much money involved for them to be perfect or even good.
Right. There's a lot of little discrepancies that come into play whenever you're that high up and or got that big of a corporation going. Which, yeah, that's always been kind of a problem with even like smaller studios. Just these bigger ones are obviously getting the spotlight put on them because of that.
I mean,
but
just recently, Hollow Knight developer got hit with some accusations.
Really?
Yeah, about having a toxic workplace and all that.
Huh. I'm surprised that they actually got called on that. So, I mean, they don't. I mean, granted, Hollow Knight's a huge game in its own community, but just for how small of a studio Cherry is, that's kind of surprising.
Yeah. That doesn't take a whole lot.
Nah, one little slip up and you're plastered all over social media.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are.
I just hope the people working with Concerned Ape, I hope he treats them right. I like Concerned Ape. I don't want to have a bad news story about him. I'm looking forward to the Haunted Chocolatier.
The Haunted Chocolatier.
Yeah, at some point you should take a look at that trailer. It is just awesome. It's the same person that did Stardew.
Oh,
only he now has a team rather than with Stardew when he was mostly by himself.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely have to look into that.
Yeah,
Stardew is unnecessarily stressful for me.
I've been getting the itch to play that again.
Yeah, I think about it. I see it in my Steam library every so often. And I could go back to that, but then it's like, all right, I gotta min max everything. Gotta
And
make this
also,
farm as efficient as possible.
he also, yeah, that's when you start getting stresses when you're trying to mid max.
Exactly.
Um, he he is very supportive of mods as well. Like, he's definitely set it up so, and he even said himself, uh, at this point, he's not going to be releasing updates for the game. The game is going to live on through the modding community, is what he said, which is really cool.
Yeah, and if it kicks off well, then the modding community can take that thing to new heights, no problem.
Yeah, there's
I mean, like
already
games
a
like Left 4 Dead and like they've got their modding community super active, and the
yeah.
amount of things they've done that just completely changed the game. The new full maps they make up.
Oh yeah. There's a there's a mod that's very very popular in the Stardew community called Stardew Expanded, and they added like 5 new characters, three of which are romanceable. Um,
Yeah.
you've got actually 2 of them. So uh, 2 of them are related. Uh, one is a widowed mother, and the other is her son. And so me
Oh,
and my wife decided to play, and she was romancing the son, and I was romancing the mother. So we did that just for the joke of, hey, in real life we're married, but in the game, I'm her daddy.
Jesus. That's great.
But yeah,
See, video games really do let you live out your fantasies.
there is also a mod, which is a little questionable but hilarious nonetheless, where you can where it adds sex scenes.
Oh god. Of course there is.
Rule 34, baby.
Yeah, you can't run.
Um. Anyway, uh,
Yeah, anyways.
yeah, I've been looking into doing that, and I think because I've played so much of the game, I've started like so many games, and I've married everyone that's marryable at this point. Um, I've decided when I start a new game, if I do finally scratch that itch and start a new game, I'm going to do the cheat code where you can add item codes to your name. And every time someone says your name, you just get those items. So you can get prismatic shards and rabbit's foots and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And just that way I don't have to, I can just A, get the best sword as soon as I unlock the desert. B, I can just get everyone to 10 hearts almost immediately because Rabbit's Foot and Prismatic Shards are loved by everyone except 2 people. Which Prismatic Shards are hated by Haley, and Rabbit's Feet are hated by Penny. So I just have to make sure I give the other, switch them up. But
Don't get too mixed.
yeah, well, that's it. That would just get it out, everything. Um,
I'm not sure why when I said modding communities, I went straight for Left 4 Dead. Like, there's Dark Souls and Skyrim and
oh yeah,
Fallout is
there's
like
tons. Yeah, there's tons of
completely
great
changed the
modding
game.
communities.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's also those kinds of modded Skyrim, which is yeah.
yeah.
I don't know how to feel about it, but it's there. If
Yeah.
you're so inclined.
All right. This is a game I was excited about, but this story makes me not as excited. Have you seen Sonic Origins at all or anything about it?
I have
So Sonic,
it's the new like bundle of all of the original titles.
yeah, it's like it's all the original titles. It's 1, 2, 3, Sonic and Knuckles, and then Sonic CD, I believe. And then they went back through the game and increased the fidelity or something like that, so that way they uh look a little bit more modern, and they added
Mm.
the other characters to be playable. They added Knuckles and Tails to be playable in the games that they were not playable before.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so but Sonic Origins locks modes, character animations, and more behind DLC.
No.
Mm-hmm. Sega has confirmed that specific modes, features, and even visual elements within Sonic Origins will be locked away as premium editions. Oh, by the way, this is from Chris Scullion at BGC. While the standard $40 edition of Sonic Origins includes the main game itself, players also need the Start Dash Pack, Premium Fun Pack, and Classic Music Pack if they want everything the game has to offer.
$40.
$40. So I mean, it's not the most expensive, but it's not exactly cheap when you're leaving features out.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, those are so the people that are going to buy this, or at
Yeah.
least some of them, are ones that probably have a Genesis stashed away in their closet. They're like the ones that
Yeah.
are gonna jump at it, anyways.
Yeah, I have a not a Genesis, but like one of those minis,
Yeah.
and I think it has everything except all of these games except Sonic CD and Sonic 3. Because
Yes.
it doesn't have a memory. It doesn't have memory, so I can't do Sonic 3 because that had saving.
Right. It's the
Um,
yeah, that and that little mini one, that's like 60 for that console, isn't it?
yeah.
So I mean like why not just get one of those?
And even if you get
and have those games and more and all of them. Not
you
this
don't have the
gated crap.
yeah, I don't have the they tweeted it out in like a graphic of how to buy the game and everything. Oh, here we go. The story actually has it. So even if you get the digital deluxe edition, which is like the high end edition,
Mhm.
you still have to get the start dash pack for all the features because even then it leaves out three of the features which are in the start dash pack. So even if you get the digital deluxe, you still don't get everything without DLC.
Dumb. I don't. I don't approve of this. I really
No.
don't.
Literally, the $40 version, all you get is the main game.
I mean, granted, Sega doesn't do too much anymore, so I guess they're trying to cash in, but
Yeah.
still.
Although, again, it's shitty and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Some of the features are interesting, though, like mirror mode, where I guess they reverse the levels, so you're going backwards, basically.
Oh,
I
whoop
think
de doo! You don't get to see the level you're playing, but in reverse.
But yeah, there's a bunch of interesting ones. I can read them off real quick. So you got the 100 bonus coins, which I'm assuming I don't know what the bonus coins are for, so I can't make any determination on that. Mirror mode, which I talked about, a letterbox background, which I'm assuming they kept it as 4x3 and not updated it to be 16x9. So I'm assuming that's the letterbox background is like a decoration border for when you're playing the game on your 16x9
Right.
screen,
Yeah.
because who has a 4x3 screen anymore?
Yeah, I would think so. Kind of like how, again, going back to those plug and play consoles they released, it's got like you can have like the Mario background or the curtains on the sides to box it in. It's not
Yeah.
very many people are gonna, yeah, like I said, no one really has one of those anymore. Not many people with the CRTV.
You've got hard missions, um, character animation in the main menu, camera controls over the main menu islands, character animation during music islands, and additional music tracks from Mega Drive / Genesis titles.
Yeah, I'm not on board with this.
No, I
Quite
definitely,
frankly.
I definitely think this is a shitty thing to do for sure.
Yeah. Which I don't know. I mean, Nintendo likes to make their money off of it. Like, you'd never see anything on Nintendo drop. Like, I just got my Switch. I bought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's still full price, just like all the other games are. And I'm going to get Terraria on it, which on Steam is like 15-20 bucks, I think. On Switch, that's a $30 game.
Yeah. So another thing that could potentially be shitty, that may not be shitty at all. We don't have enough information on it yet. Both Sony and Xbox are looking into uh digital ads in free to play games.
Oh no.
So right,
Microsoft, or not Microsoft, fucking Meta tried doing that.
Yeah. So
and it got shit on.
yeah, this idea that they're talking about is interesting. I'm not sure. Again, you can definitely take it overboard and has been taken overboard in the past. Let's not forget, this was a very common practice in the like early to late 2000s. Like there was ads all over the wazoo. But what they're free to play games typically are live service games. So it's like essentially the idea is they'll have a separate marketplace for, corporations or whatever, and they can buy ad space for a certain amount of time in games, and they'll be posted on like a billboard that's in the game or something like that.
I mean, so long as it's not too terribly intrusive, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not terrible.
See, like for me, I'm fine with, brands being in games, like you said, as long as it's not intrusive. Actually, I think it can add like the thing that keeps getting pointed out, but I don't think has ever really left is like in racing and sports games, there's always the walls that have, stuff.
Right.
And it's like that's in real life. So for me, they, having uh having football, let's say it's football, and it's like let's go to the halftime show presented by Coke, like that already happens, so that actually adds to the you know immersion of it, because that is real life, is halftime shows always have a sponsor.
Definitely. It's not so intrusive as to break your immersion from the game.
Yeah.
Kind of like, which I mean, they're generally smaller studios, so it's like, and it's mobile apps anyway, so I get it. But like mobile games, like popping up the 15-second non-skippable ad is like, cool. Just ripped me out of my game, and I gotta sit here and watch this random video
Yeah.
that I don't
That's
care
where
about.
it can get. That's definitely where it can get bad. The other thing, like I said, in the mid 2000s, it started getting really bad because it was prevalent in the early 2000s. Mid 2000s, they started going overboard with it, and like you'd be playing. I can't think of an exact example at the top of my head, but you'd be playing something like Call of Duty, and you would just pass like a giant billboard in the middle of a forest that says you know buy Ford Tough or whatever, something like that. And
Yeah.
it's like What?
No.
I'm in a forest. Why is there this giant billboard in the forest?
Make the billboards destructible, then we might have something.
Wait, I'm somewhat with you, but I'm thinking, I'd be
Billboard
fine with.
tough, M80 right into
I'm thinking something like, let's say it's a post-apocalyptic game, and like a zombie game or something like that, and like it's a billboard that's got bullet holes in it. It's kind of crooked because there's not been any maintenance, and like kind of dirty and stuff, and it has the
Right.
ad there. That would fit.
Yeah, keep it in
Um,
world. Like, make it
the
make
other
sense if you're going to do it.
the other thing I'm worried about is if it's a game that ends up not being as popular, and they have these specific assets or whatever from for ad space. Is it going to be something like have you played any of Gmod?
Yeah, of course.
So when there's when you don't have a texture downloaded properly, or
Oh.
it's just the blue and pink checkered pattern.
Mhm.
Is it going to be something like that if they don't have anyone to buy that ad space? Like, what are they going to do in the instance where the free to play live service aspect game is not doing so hot, is not making money?
Yeah, like they don't have a pre-rendered asset just as a space holder. If there's no
Yeah.
ad there, it's just missing texture.
Yeah, well, how is that going to work? Is it going to be something jarring like that, or like you said, are they going to have a placeholder like instead of Coke, it says Proto Cola or something like that?
Part of me hopes they don't have a backup, but it's just that, so it's like that nobody wants the space.
That'll be the sign that reporters start pointing to when a game's going downhill. They're like, "Oh, there's no ad space."
Nobody's wanting to back this.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I was wondering, I saw something the other day. I don't know if it's true, and I don't have Netflix, so I don't really keep up with it. I don't really care. But
Yeah.
there's, I had a thing pop up on my phone that apparently Netflix is supposed to be implementing commercial breaks now. I don't know if this is true or not, but
I have not seen that. The thing that I have seen about Netflix is they lost 200,000 subscribers.
yeah, they've
And
been
so-
losing so many users. So that's why I was wondering, like, if they are actually doing this, is this some last ditch attempt, like a desperate claw for more revenue because they're losing those people? But
Based
if it
on these
is, they're
things,
gonna push people away because nobody wants to have to watch commercials in the middle of whatever they're watching.
Well, they're already pushing people away with two other things that they've done because of losing subscribers. They are just scrapping their whole animation division that they had.
Really?
Yeah, they will not have original Netflix animation anymore.
Those are always hit or miss, but that's still kind of shocking because I know there's a lot of people that love some of those that they've made.
And the other thing they're planning on doing, and I've talked about it with some family and so forth, I don't know logistically how they can get away with this, but they're trying to implement features that will ban password sharing. But I'm not quite sure how you do that, like, because there's people that travel for a living, there's people that have multiple houses. Like my dad stays here when he has to work in this area because he travels for work, so he'll stay over here, but most of the time he's in another state. So how does that work for him? Like, because he's not necessarily sharing a password, he just has multiple places he stays.
Right. Which would be kind of like how it is with setting your home console with the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like, it'll boot you out of the other ones if it detects that you're signed into another one. But
my father-in-law was talking about how he thinks that they could just limit your devices, and I go, they're already limiting devices, like how many devices you can watch at once.
Yeah. And
yep,
with their jacking prices too, it's like
yeah.
it feels like it's just they're trying everything they can to ensure
Well, I
that they
think
can
that's
keep raking in that revenue.
I think that's what caused them to lose this recent cluster of people is them jacking the prices up.
It's almost $20 now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not cheap at all. And then when you consider what do they really have that, you know, that is really worth that money.
Right, because I know they've got like Supernatural and Witcher, which are two really big series, but that's why I don't have Netflix. It's like there's not much
Mhm.
on there that catches my interest. Like
Yeah.
if anything, I'd get like HBO Max or something like that, which has so much and at a reasonable price.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's close it out. Let's get this closed out and then we can go do our post show.
Is wrap it up.
If you liked or even if you didn't like this podcast, make sure to do all of the things like hitting the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell on youtube.com/the XofPlays, or giving it a high rating on whatever podcast service you use so you can find like-minded people. I brought it up before, but on patreon.com/the briefing room, you can financially support the show, get cool rewards, and more. That's all from us. Take care.
Take care, everyone.